Good morning, good morning, good morning from New Hampshire, and it is a beautiful morning. The colors on the trees are coming out, It's fall. It's fall in New Hampshire. My name is Cindy, and I'm a teacher, and I'm on my way to school today. And this car chat is just a time for me to talk about the weather, teacher life, and things that I do in my free time. And this is my morning car chat. So thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. And if you would listen just for like 5 minutes maybe, that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I have, the car chats seem to be what I can do, in my busy life. So here we are. Thank you for coming. So I am headed out to school. These roads are being repaved, so it's kind of nice smooth road here. And I'm in New Hampshire, and I like to, put my camera so that you can see the foliage. And that's kind of when I started this morning car chat, was just to show how pretty it is on my way to school. I have really a nice ride to school. It's really gorgeous, and I guess for me, I was homeschooling for many years, had kids, and getting up in the morning every day still, brings me a thrill to be in the morning traffic. I know some people are probably sick of it, but I like getting up and taking a drive in the early morning, and there's hardly any cars on the road right now. If I wait till about 8 o'clock, there'd be a little bit more traffic, but for the most part, this area, there's not a lot of traffic. And I'm headed to school. I work at a small Christian school in New Hampshire, and we have, I always forget how many students we have, because it's weird, because I'm a numbers person for math class, but when it comes to statistics, I don't always remember statistics properly. So I'm not going to say. I can't remember if it's 150 or 250. I think it's 150. So we have our church. Our school is in a church, and we have, we're pretty maxed out right now. They're looking for property to maybe, spread out a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that, how the Lord provides on that. But right now, it's a Cybertruck. So right now we are headed to school, and it is the last day of September. Hard to believe. The last day of September, the skies are a little bit cloudy, a little bit overcast today, but it's still really nice. We have had pretty much a drought in this area. Just a few weeks ago, they put out a warning: please do not use any extra water, like don't water your lawns or anything, because the water table is very low right now, and do not hold fires. Don't have any campfires or anything, because the ground is way too dry, and it could be, a problem. But then last weekend, the weekend of the fair, we had a torrential downpour, which is unusual for this area. So, hey, good morning, Phyllis. Yay! I'm so glad I could talk to you this morning. Phyllis is my really good friend, and we live too far apart. I wish we were neighbors. And so we had a torrential downpour last Thursday, on the Thursday of the fair, and so it was we had to go home from the fair, but we needed the rain. And then Thursday and Friday was really nice. So it's really hard, because when you need rain, you want rain, but you don't want it to come down so hard that you can't do anything. So here we are going to school. It's Day, and lots going on in the world today, but I'm glad that I have this uh, little world that I live in of, I work at a Christian school. I'm free to talk about the Bible. I'm free to pray. I'm free to talk about God. And I can tell my students, what's right and wrong. And that is freedom to me. What's going on in the public schools right now is not freedom. It is insanity, to be honest. And let's see. Yeah, so I was on the school board for a few years, and I really liked that experience. I learned a lot. It was a lot of time invested into that role. It was a lot of time. They paid us I think it was $1,500 for the whole year, which is more than I get as a state representative, but it's still. There's a license plate for the number 4 and freedom. I always like to drive along. Am I driving with friends? Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. For freedom. I think most people like freedom, but they sometimes like rules for other people, but not for themselves. But anyway, I do believe that freedom also includes order. Like when you go to school and the kids they have chaos, it's not good. And so freedom needs order and boundaries and guidelines so that we're not just imposing upon other people, and just ways to live appropriately, and just at our school, you're not allowed to use inappropriate language. If I hear a conversation that's not reasonable, I can tell them to change the subject. We do have rules and boundaries for certain things. We do also have a counselor on the campus, and so if we do have kids that have problems that they need to talk to an adult about, we have that available to them, which is nice. I try to think back when I was a kid, would I have talked to a person like that? I just never really sought out an adult to talk to other than my parents, which I think that should be the number one. Kids go to their parents. Go to your parents, talk to your parents. They're the ones who love you the most. But if you do have someone you need to talk to, be careful who you talk to, because that could be doesn't always work out to your advantage. I do believe in paid counselors, which I never used to. But the reason I like the counselors that you talk to that you might pay is because they're not in your circle. They can look at you objectively and tell you the truth, and it's not going to be any emotions involved. They can give you advice. They can speak to you without you feeling emotional and things like that. They're outside of the situation. They're not going to go tell people what you just told them, because I'm sure they get people talking to them all day long. So I do believe that paying a counselor is actually a good idea. And like I said, I used to not believe that. I used to think, why don't they go to the pastor? Why don't they talk to the people at church and things like that? Because I know that pastors have a good, they have an understanding of the Bible, but, there's only so far they can go with that knowledge. And sometimes a counselor has a way of helping you see things in another kind of perspective. and then it's outside of your everyday life. It's not going to affect, your relationship with your pastor or with your pastor's family or whatever. And there is a risk if you talk to a counselor. You can, leave out some truth, and you can tell one-sided story, and the counselor isn't going to know everything about the situation. But that's on you. If you pay a counselor, tell them everything. Tell them the truth. Give them both sides so that they can give you the best advice possible. So that's my take on getting a counselor. How did I ever get a... Oh, because we have a counselor at our school. I think she's good. I think that sometimes, she's in our school. I'm not sure she always gets, the truth from the students. I know the kids complain about me because I'm a little bit strict. I do make them behave in my class, and I make them do work. I try to push them a little harder than maybe they expected they could go. I'm trying to reach them, to want to work, to want to study. God knows this country needs people who want to work and want to learn. And I know math might not be everybody's favorite sport, but it's a practice time for thinking skills, and everybody needs to learn to think. Everybody needs to put their thinking cap on, as we used to hear in Romper Room. That was a TV show when I was a kid. They had Romper Room, and she would always tell the kids to put on their thinking cap. And, so sometimes I will mention that in my classes, to put on your thinking cap. I don't know. It's hard because I love math. I love algebra. I love all the things math, and I love numbers. I just feel like, numbers increase, like you can increase in your knowledge of numbers, but they're always the same. Like the number 10 is always the number 10. It's always an even number. It always can be added by 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 7, 6 and 4, 5 and 5. It's a good number. When you multiply it by 10 by something, you just put a 0 on the end of the number. A lot of fun things about the number 10. And so it's just a good number. And I love numbers. And it's always the same. And so when you study history, you can study general history, and then every perspective of history can be different. Like if you study history as an American in the USA, as a European American, it's one way, and if you study it as a Native American Indian, it's another way. If you study it as a person who lived in Europe during the time of the American Revolution, it would be different. So history, it's like a million different perspectives and a lot more to learn, in my opinion. So I really like the math skills. And I feel like it's brain exercise, Like if you go into the gym, and I tell the students, if you go into the gym and you get ready to work, but you sit in the chair and just watch everyone else, that's not going to work to help your muscles, right? That's only going to help, you're just observing. And that's the same thing with math class. You have to get in there, you have to exercise, you have to write things down. One thing I learned recently, or came to the realization, is that kids who do their math skills on the computer, they're not writing things down. And so when we get students into our school from, say, the public school, they have done a lot of work on Chromebooks, so they're not used to sitting at the desk writing things down. That is becoming extinct. That is not good because writing has it's such a part of learning. So I think that teachers need to put the Chromebooks down, get the kids writing. Hi, Jason. Jason is he's a top quality educator. I can't remember what his title is, but I know he's an administrator and he has high level education. He teaches teachers. So I don't know, you might have some feedback on my comments. But I have one student that his parents said he's never done school without a Chromebook, and I'm like, why isn't he writing answers? Why isn't he writing this on his paper? He's just sitting staring at me, and I realized, okay, he's not used to writing things down on paper, even though he's of the age he should be. So we have to remember the type of things that kids are doing in school. In our school, we are using paper. We don't use Chromebooks every day. We will use them for typing class or a project, which I understand. Kids need to learn how to type. I know how to type. I learned how to type in high school. We had a typing class. I don't think it takes a whole lifetime to learn how to type. They could take a typing class in high school and be good at typing. So I do believe that typing skills are important. I used to do a school newspaper. I have no problem typing. I really like talk to text these days. That works too. But, writing skills, typing, all of those things are important, but also writing things down. And so that's important too. So, yeah, so I can't really read all the comments, but I can read them later. Thank you for commenting. And so I'm headed to school and just kind of rambling a little bit. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be able to teach at a Christian school where we have our problems. It's not perfect, that's for sure. But we're able to teach our kids. We're able to control our classrooms. We have a lot of really good, amazing teachers who work really hard, and they love the students, and they know a lot of their parents. We have some amazing people. I mean, I have to say, our principal has gathered together some really great educators and hardworking people, and she has a good thing going. And, the kids are in a good place, and sometimes they don't always want to learn, and that's my problem. Come on, kids, let's go. We're learning today. And math isn't always their favorite subject, but we're doing it, And when I hear about the problems in the public school, it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for certain students that have such severe problems in their life, whether it's family situations or physical limitations or emotional and mental illnesses. Just so much is happening, and it's really hard for teachers to teach when you have all of these other facets of the child's life, and you have to try to meet those needs, plus teach reading on top of it. One thing I really love, which I don't think we do enough of, is read alouds. I love read alouds, and I used to read aloud to my kids constantly when we were homeschooled. We did every day after lunch. We would read aloud before nap time, before bedtime, in the car. Just so many things, and that was before we had audiobooks. Now my daughter has kids, and they do a lot of audiobooks now. And there's so many resources for homeschoolers now, which like I said, audiobooks. But I read a lot just with my own lot of fun, which I'm thinking I want to do. I have a class in the afternoon that has a study hall, and they don't usually study. I was thinking maybe I would make that read aloud time. And one thing about read alouds is it's the book, it's the connection with you and the student, it's the student hearing good sentence structure and vocabulary. And a lot of times the kids don't read books on their own. So read alouds are good so that kids get exposed to different types of books and good books. And I do see that comment, Phyllis, to make sure I eat. Thank you so much for your care for me. I did eat some cereal. I had Rice Krispies for breakfast, and I did pack a lunch. I packed a little salad that I made yesterday, and some fruit, some crackers, some stuff like that. This person says, I still think kids personally reading is so much more important. Yeah, I agree, and I, made that observation when I was, knee-high to a grasshopper when I went away. I went away to high school, and I, had a friend that was really, really smart. I'm like, what's her secret? And I saw her reading books on her own, and she always had a book with a dictionary. So she was always reading and always looking up looking up the words. And she would read good books, not the junk that we have coming out nowadays. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that, because there is a lot of good stuff coming out, but it's not mainstream. So look for the good stuff. And, that's a whole nother topic. I think I talked about that in one of my videos, some really good books. There's lots of ways to get free books nowadays. On Kindle, you can get books that are not copyrighted. And I love the Jolly Robin series. And it sounds funny, but it's about a bird. But the series talks about all the animals in the meadow. And there's Jasper Jay, Solomon Owl, Freddie Fox. And the interesting thing is, they're old books, they're non-copyright, so they're free on Kindle. And so you can read these to your kids. You can also buy them pretty cheap, just have them print them out. You can buy them on Amazon as well. And they personify the animals, but they also talk about, their environment. So you get a picture of what the bird really does. And they're really good. Good vocabulary, good sentence structure, good morals, animal life. Really fun. Really fun. So many good books. Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to say goodbye because I'm almost to school, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching videos on my channel. I think I'm going to make a video coming up about my doll that I made. I made a crocheted doll. I'm actually working on my second one. I've got 2 arms done and a foot. So little by little, I'll get those done, and it's coming to winter. I do have some other projects I need to do, but I had a lot of fun doing those, and just need to channel my energy sometimes. So, so thank you guys for watching. Good to see you, Phyllis. Thank you for watching and for all your support. Phyllis, my friend, has always been my greatest cheerleader. In many ways. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.